Well, we are live. What a disappointing ending to what was a very good game or an interesting game all around as LSU falls to Alabama 14-20. Look, I mean, I know I've been taking it all night in reference to Max Johnson. He did not have one of his best games. Look, I know I'm going to take a lot of obliteration on this, and that's fine. I still am going to wait until a better offensive scheme gets in here for LSU. Guys, the entire first half, the offensive play calling didn't change. Orgeron and LSU showed that he's letting his coordinators call the plays. Durante Jones came out with a masterful plan, a team in Alabama that was scoring over 46 points a game. They come out and put them on their heels the entire day. Alabama hits a couple of big plays, but at the end, they're not able to do what they normally do. LSU literally held Alabama to less than half of the points that they've had all season long. Less than half. And yes, we are monitoring UFC 268 as it looks like Justin Gaethje is going to knock out Michael Chandler. This is a pretty brutal fight, I must say so myself. Look, there's not a lot to say. I know that there's going to be a lot of Jimbo Fisher questions inside the chat. But I'm going to – look, Max just played a bad game. He didn't play one of the greater games. He did lead you to get into the score to keep you in the game, but I still am going to hold out until we get another offensive play call. Gotta do this. I'll get to Ryan Williams' comment. Fire in your comments. We get to all of them. Do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to some Facebook groups. Share to your social media pages. Share to your if you're on YouTube, hit the share to all your social media platforms. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification bell. But Ryan Williams says, great fight by the Tigers tonight. Honestly, feels like we should have won. Just needed better play from Max. You did. And I'm not going to put all of this on Max. I mean, look, Ty Davis-Price can't have that fumble, but he missed wide open receivers. And that's on Max. So you got to give it to him. Very quickly, let's do this. We're not going to stay too long because we got the big fights going on tonight. But I got to give a big shout-out to our good friends over at betonline.ag. Guys, you want to place all your bets, use betonline.ag. Use your mobile device. Use a 50% welcome bonus. Use the AYS podcast tab. That way they know your good friend Blake Rufino at AYS sent you on by. That's betonline.ag. Betonline.ag. Carl the Cat Dunn says, damn. Guys, I'm going to take what we just saw. We did not expect that to come from LSU. A 28.5-point underdog. I thought that they fought very well. Adam Contreras puts it good here. Rushing was 109 to LSU to 6. I think, guys, that's huge. An Alabama team that's been running the football very effectively, that's huge. So, Jax says, good game. Players played hard. I thought they did defensively. But look, I got to say this. There were multiple times that Max got pressure. And when that happened, Chandler, when that happened, Chasen Hines is a issue and is a problem. Why Marlon Martinez is not starting over Chasen Hines, I have absolutely no idea. But I think that the story of this game, it shows how much Ed Orgeron was legitimately holding this defense back. Monday, I told you, and it was the biggest thing we said. It kind of went a little viral. I said, take off the robe and let those titties hang. Well, defensively, LSU let those titties hang. Guys, I've been telling you, it does not take a lot schematically to start sending guys playing man-to-man coverage and backing out. It just doesn't. So they came up with a game plan. They had a good game plan, and they stopped them. They're going to need to continue to utilize that. I will continue to say, until next season and beyond, LSU has talent. LSU has talent all across the field. You need better quarterback play. You're going to get better quarterback play when the new coaching staff and regime comes in. But defensively, guys, coaching means a lot. And when you defensively do the things that you do and put Alabama – guys, Nick Saban got out-coached. Nick Saban and his offense got out coached. Bryce Young and this whole offense, it's not like LSU was doing anything different in the second half. They didn't know what to do. But offensively, they didn't do it. Mark says, no excuses for Max. He cannot process fast enough. Guys, he's in his 10th start. I mean, I'm not going to obliterate the kid just yet. You're not going to get me obliterating Max. Again, I don't think he played well. I'm not going to shy away from the fact that he didn't play well because he didn't. But I am proud. Marvin says, no, Blake, Max hurt us. It doesn't matter who the coach is. He's good, not elite. Guys, okay, then somebody in the comments tell me what they're doing on third down when they have a mesh route when two receivers are running into one another. Guys, in the first half, they ran a mesh route and a crossing route where both the receivers ran into each other. They ran the same play later on in the game, and it almost happened again with receivers that they're not – Jeray Jenkins isn't missing the route. You understand what I'm saying? You're running counter, getting stuff up at the line. You don't run any zone reads. Orgeron doesn't want Max to run the football. Again, guys, confirmed. He did not play well, but I'm going to take the heat for it, and I understand it. But like I told you, listen to me. Like I told you defensively, that fight just ended. I can't believe that fight went all 3 rounds. Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler. Wow. That fight legitimately went all 3 rounds. However, guys, what do you explain defensively? What do you explain what happened? Coaching means a lot. You do understand that a team that scores 46 points a season, or in this season, 46 points a game, just got held to 20. You do really coming off a bye week. And let's not, if Saban's the GOAT, then why didn't they make adjustments? Why didn't they make adjustments? You got talent across the field. Coaching means a lot. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. Someone explain to me the schemes offensively then. If you know what you're talking about, you better explain it to me. Now, Max does need to get better with his pocket presence, period. I'm not going to take that away from him. He's got to get better with his pocket awareness. Mark says Tennessee just won. Yeah. What about guys, I'm criticizing Max by saying he had a horrible game. I mean, I don't understand what else you guys want from me. Nookie says, can we save the QB debate for another time? I mean, Nookie, I'm coming in the comments. Marvin, I'm sorry. Marvin, you my boy, but again, you better come with something different other than that. You better come with why they're running the ball on 3rd and 13. All right, let's get away from it. Jeff 2 says, Blake, as an Alabama fan, I want to give endless praise for LSU and the way that y'all came to play. Hell of a game. Yeah, it was a hell of a game. And look, I'm not going to take anything away from Alabama. I mean, I know what a lot of people are going to come out and say that, Alabama was overlooking LSU, and they're not going to give any credit to LSU. But, guys, LSU played one hell of a game. Down as many starters as LSU was, defensively. Okay, you come back and you do the things that you do to that offense. The story of this game, regardless of what anybody wants to say, is how this defense performed. How this defense performed is what exactly is especially the effort. Neil Farrell, Jaquelin Roy, guys, Mike Jones. You know, this is the coaching ineptitudes that we've talked about all season long. Mike Jones goes out there and gets a big sack. Then they start playing basketball. They start giving up big plays. Mike Jones goes back in. Where's Mike Jones been all season? You know, there was a perception that Mike Jones wasn't good. Well, guys, you never seen him play. The game before against Ole Miss, he played 7 plays and had 4 tackles. You realize that, correct? Mike Jones last week or 2 weeks ago played 7 plays and had 4 tackles. Some of them, I'm talking about total tackles, not solo, but assists and everything. Fantastic scheme. Fantastic scheme from this defense. Nookie also says no Mason Smith. Yeah, no Mason Smith. Lonnie says, Blake, stop defending Max. He's terrible and can't make a completion unless the receiver is wide open. Guys, the receivers were not wide open. I'm not. At what point did I say that Max had a horrible game? Hey, did Bryce Young have a horrible game? Is he a horrible quarterback? Gary Donovan says, you realize that Bama only had 6 yards rushing. Yeah, they didn't. I mean, let me go look at this because I didn't pull up the stats. Let me go pull it up just to make sure because I know people are on my ass. People are mad at the loss, but you guys in the chat all week were saying that you weren't even going to watch the game. But it's funny how you all watched it. All right. Let's see. Total stats. Alabama had 6 total rushing yards. Again, yeah, I didn't even have to look at the stats. I didn't even have to look at the stats of that. I mean, if you watched the game, you knew. The simple fact that Alabama only gave up 6 or only had 6 rushing yards is a total testament to what Durante Jones did. So what my question is if Durante would have had the leeway to do what he did all season long, then what would have happened if he had Derek Stingley Jr., Elias Ricks, and he had these guys healthy? What would have happened then? You know, I hate the what-if game, but yeah. Zachary Burrows says, after we saw from the D1, want to make the statement that Durante Jones should stay after O leaves. Well, wait. I'm going to wait until the next coaching staff comes in. Hugh says that Max needs to learn to use his internal clock. He does. His pocket awareness wasn't good. His pocket awareness was not good. Again, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt until a new coaching staff comes in. I think that this, in my personal opinion, and you can hate me for it or not, okay, I still think that this offensive scheme is horrendous. You can't say do you think that the O-line was bad? Do you think that the receivers are bad? Do you think the play calling's bad? Well, then you better put it on the wide receivers. You better put it on the O-line. You better put it on the scheme and the coordinators too, and take some off of Max's plate. But that does not excuse the inabilities. You know, he got lucky. Max got lucky when they technically called it the incomplete pass, but the fumble down there, I still think Orgeron should have kicked the field goal, and you're only down 3. What happens, then this is what, you could have tied that game up. You could have been or down 20-17, and you were on the 35-yard line. Let Cade York try a 50, 60-yarder like you've been saying. Get the points. I still think LSU could have tied that game. And ultimately, what happens if you get into overtime with the number 2 team and your defense is playing the way that they are? But woulda, coulda, shouldas. Jeff 2 said, stab today. Alabama had 6 total rushing yards and 1 unbelievable defensive performance by LSU, but Alabama deserves credit as well. I think that they do deserve credit. I think that they deserve credit for how they played and overcoming adversity. Michael O'Neill says, take him the F out. So let me just say this. Nussmeier's not going to play outside of one game for the rest of the season. Doug Nussmeier, his dad, and Garrett and Orgeron have all talked in reference to taking a red shirt and the potential that if he needs to transfer. So Garrett, everybody calling for Garrett Nussmeier, you can call for him all you want, but Garrett Nussmeier is not playing for LSU again this season unless Max gets injured or something happens where they wind up playing him one more game, because if he plays more than one more game, then he'll burn his red shirt, and they want it. So they're not going to do that. Josh Taylor says Joe Burrow was not that good before Joe Brady. Max could be good with coaching. He's young and needs a coach. You better be careful, coach. See, I'm not going to sit here and agree with this. Max Johnson did not lose that game. Max Johnson did not fumble the football. Tyron Davis-Price did. Max threw a costly interception. Guys, come on. Hey, you know what Max Johnson didn't do? Max Johnson did not give up 20 points. Come on, guys. Come on. I see LSU fans been drinking tonight, boy. Robbie Smith says, Blake, you told us all year that the O-line isn't bad like others say. Now you're just saying they're defending Max. Something has to give. Well, guys, you had 101 rushing yards against the number 2 team in the country. You rushed like you did against Florida. I mean, I'm going to continue to say that this offense, guys, they were getting push up front against Alabama's defensive line. I'm going to have to need somebody to come in here and to explain to me, somebody, if you're good enough, come in here and explain to me why the scheme is good. Somebody, please, for the love of God, come in these comments and tell me why the offensive scheme is good. Guys, I'm telling you, it's fucking horrible. Jake Peets does not know what the fuck he's doing. Period. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Orgeron is just as bad for not allowing a mobile quarterback to run. Guys, fucking confirmed. He doesn't want Max Johnson, who ran all over Florida and used his legs to beat the SEC East champs last year. He doesn't want him using his legs. You better come in the comments and you better tell me why the scheme is good. Pooh Bear gives $2. Says, Blake, guess how many rushing yards Alabama had? Since $2 to AYS Super Chat. Thank you, my friend. Nookie says, for whatever reason, we don't leverage his legs nor use him being a lefty to our advantage. No, they're running him to the opposite side of the field. I got to give a shout out to Austin Deculus. You know, outside of the plays that they were using. See, here's why the scheme's bad. Let me just give an example. Will Anderson is the best one of, if not arguably the best defensive player in the SEC. Guys, they were running counters right at him. You understand what they're running right at him. And the scheme is to not block him as the defensive end. They ran right at him, giving him the ability to get upfield. Talk about situational awareness. Your own coach is running at the best defensive player, arguably, in the SEC. He's taking on the best defensive end in the SEC. How many fucking times did Kirk Herbstreit have to talk about that tonight? There they go, running the ball at Will Anderson again. I thought Austin Deculus played good enough. I thought that he made him some money. I think that he's going to play a little bit. Rick says, you're right, Blake. Offensive scheme is terrible, but execution was poor tonight. Jordan Clark says, Max Johnson is just terrible. Poor kid's going to take a beating. $5 sent by Brian Annie Pitney says, hey, Blake, if Fisher is the guy, does he bring his recruits with him? And that's a big if. No, he's not going to take all of his recruits. I saw Walter Nolan, number 1 defensive tackle in the country, committed to the Aggies today. A lot of talk today about Jimbo. I'm surprised that we've gone this long and Jimbo Fisher hasn't come up until 21 minutes into the show. Here's what I'm going to say about the whole Jimbo Fisher thing until Monday. I think something's going to leak out soon, and I think they're going to continue to leak the Jimbo Fisher news. I can't confirm at the moment if it is or if it is not true. Blaine Smith says Will Anderson should have been double teamed every single play. Well, you mean instead of running right at him? Jason Olson says, did we take one shot downfield at all? Yeah, if you remember the one that Trey Palmer where Malik Neighbors, the one on Malik Neighbors was pass interference. They didn't call it. And then you had another big play by Trey Palmer again, and then they called Durante Kirkland for holding, if you remember. They did take some shots. Early, but not enough. Jason Morgan says it's $4.99 via Super Chat. Thank you, my friend. I greatly appreciate that, but he doesn't ask a question. Jason, if you want to ask a question inside the Super Chat, go on ahead. I will answer that question. Remington says, y'all leave Blake alone. He's out here dropping F-bombs. Yeah. But again, and look, Robbie's been on my ass, but he says, Blake, nobody's saying the scheme is good. Just place some blame equally. I literally said that Max Johnson had a horrible game. Some of you are probably a little too drunk. Listen to what I'm saying. Guys, you're running at the fucking best player in the SEC defensively, And you're going to call that good scheme? Guys, they came into a game plan. You said, hey, you know what? We're going to let the best defensive player in the SEC, we're going to let him go unfucking blocked. We're going to run counter right at him. That's what we're going to do. Yeah, scheme's good. Running a fucking mesh route when you run a fucking mesh route when you're on the short side of the field. If you're going to run a fucking drag route, do it to the wide side of the field. Guys, situational fucking awareness. Blake Press says, you know it's bad when Blake starts throwing F-bombs. Well, guys, it's true. Do you remember the Jack Besh touchdown? Okay, nothing wrong with the touchdown. I'm talking about the stick route. If any of you in here play Madden, you'll know like the little stick route. Okay, because that's basically what pretty much everybody runs. Guys, they went trip. Imagine this. They went trips left on the far left hash. They're lucky it paid off. Justin says, you have O-line bias? Probably so. I'll give you that one, Justin. I'll give you that one. Danny says, you're right. The offensive scheme sucks. Terrible. Never seen something so bad. Pooh Bear says the number for tonight is 2. Number 2 needed 2 turnovers to win by 6. They about dropped 2 in the polls. Yeah, I mean, look, I wish that this postgame, and I should have known that it was going to be a Max Johnson eat-up fest. But, guys, Max didn't just stop running on his own. Max didn't just stop running on his own. He's not sit back in the pocket passer. Guys, they're rolling him out right. They're rolling him out to his non-throwing side. He's got to get better. Again, where did I say that he played good? Dez says, big props to our DC Durante Jones for making the adjustments for the game. I don't know what we need to do for offense. Man. How about not running a fucking counterplay to the best player in the SEC? Again, Lonnie says, you keep running to Anderson to slow his pass rush down. It didn't slow it down. You don't run. If you're going to continue to run at him, he's showing that it's not affecting his pass rush at all. They're letting him go unblocked. I understand that that's a part of your scheme, but you're letting Ed Ingram, who struggled all season long, to kick out a guy going unblocked. What is the issue with taking that the other way? And here's another thing. Why don't you ever take it the other way? Can any of you remember a time where LSU consistently started running the ball left? You know, when the time they did run the ball left, you remember the 4th down that Ty Davis Price broke off and they didn't run it at Will Anderson? Hello? Do you remember? Because I sure the fuck do. Oh, it's funny when you don't run at the best defensive player in the SEC, isn't it? Going trips right on the left hash and running a mesh route with a tight end that's on the line of scrimmage, and then you have a quick slant on the backside and 2 guys are damn near running into one another, and they're all in traffic. Max has got to get better. I have sat here and said religiously, I will say where I am wrong. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I just am. You can hate me for it or not. I really don't care if you hate me for it or not. All right. Let's see. I see an ass Blake in here. Pete says, hashtag ass Blake, WTF, stop rolling Max to his right. I don't disagree. Chris Barnhill says, who the hell rolls a left-handed quarterback to the right side? This makes no sense. I don't know. Guys, I legitimately don't know. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share to some Facebook groups. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. I just got a really mean message from somebody inside the DM from somebody. God, dog. Y'all, this sucker mad at me. Blake, don't you ever say I'm wrong again. That's the DM. Okay. Sorry about you, dog. Adam Taylor says the scheme is not good. We are constantly running between the tackles where the defense does not fear any runs outside the tackles. It's true. That's very, very true. I see a couple Walker Howard's questions in here. He was back. I know that he had like a knee pad, like a leg pad on that they use in soccer. They had a pretty exciting game. Curtis says, then you were wrong. Okay, where? I literally have segments on here where Blake was right, where Blake was wrong. Blake, you were wrong. Okay, it's fine. Remington says, shit, Cameron would have called a better game. Fuck a jet sweep would have been nice. Pooh Bear says, y'all not blaming Miles Brennan for changing the offensive scheme. I'm not going to get down the Miles Brennan train tonight. I can't do it. Nookie says, we ran the ball on second down almost every single time all night. Yeah, and to Nookie's point, guys, did you know outside the first scoring drive in the second half, in the first half, did you know that we ran the ball on first down every single time we came out in the first half? After the scoring drive, on first down, we ran the ball every single play on first down. Every single time, not one pass play. Charted it. I went through it during halftime. It's like, damn, why are we? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Damn, did we run the ball every time we got a first down or coming out of Alabama scoring? Predictable. Orgeron was pretty happy, though. You saw him running off the field like he had just won a damn game. Casey says Orgeron handcuffed his staff all season. That's true. Not saying the offensive scheme is good, but would have liked to see it without O constantly meddling. You saw it defensively tonight. You certainly saw it defensively tonight. And what's crazy to me is that what would have happened if you would have had Derek Stingley, Elias Ricks, Mason Smith, and all of these guys. That's what pisses me off more than anything. Jason Morgan says Ty Davis Price fumbles and nobody has said a word. And yeah, nobody has said anything yet about it. Chili Vic on YouTube says Mangus and Pete's are young, but coach like it's the 2000s. Rick says, wonder if Herbstreets will admit that Tigers haven't quit on LSU. Well, he was doing that all during the game. I mean, he was surprised as anybody about how much they fought, about how much LSU fought. And guys, again, what I don't want to take, everybody during the entire week was like, LSU's going to get blown out. LSU's going to get blown out. LSU's going to get blown out. They go out and they have a good performance in a good game, and everybody seems to be upset with it. Blake Press says, yep, with a chance to tie it there, talking about LSU not taking the points when they were down in the red zone. You got to take the points there because, guys, LSU had 4 straight defensive stops. 4 straight defensive stops. Then you get the ball back. You get it close to your 35-yard line. Then what? You have a chance to tie it there. Let's not act like everybody wants to talk about Max, but Orgeron should have taken the points. One thing that we haven't talked about, I'll be honest, I was wrong. I criticized Orgeron for taking the timeout, for the fake punt. You do know that LSU ran that fake punt again when they were in Alabama in 2019. Y'all remember they tried to do it with Zach Van Rosenberg and they missed it. This time they hit it with Jack Mashburn. So it was a good timeout, and Alabama wasn't safe, which was crazy. Chris Barnhill says, hashtag Ask Blake, the defensive end crashed in all night. If Max would have been allowed to pull it, we would have gotten 200 yards rushing, and we would have won by 14. I wish they would have told him to pull it, but they're so worried about Nussmeier taking a red shirt that they don't want the kid to run. Guys, I can't tell you how much I've gotten that. I mean, we have gotten that confirmed. I've been saying that since week 3, since I started asking the question. Orgeron says it's not true, but guys, you don't have another scholarship quarterback that they're wanting to play. Ty says, no way Max starts next year. Dude is terrible. Nuss Bus or Walker Howard will be the starter next year. Possible. Guys, this is possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's very possible. Guys, Walker Howard is a fucking stud. I'm not saying he's going to come in and start as a true freshman, but that kid's a fucking stud. Roger says, the next coach steps into a championship roster right away. Let's go. Guys, you got, again, the big argument for LSU over the last 2 years is, do they have enough talent? I think what tonight showed you, and I think what even Florida showed you, even though Florida's getting their teeth kicked in or got their teeth kicked in, I think what tonight is showing you is that LSU has talent. LSU has quality depth because not all those guys were starters. You had 9 guys defensively that were out that were starters, and those majority of those guys were backups. I thought Dwight McLaughlin played a pretty good game. Pooh Bear brings up a good point. He says, if Miles Brennan isn't hurt, Max is running. I agree with that statement wholeheartedly. Abum on Facebook says, when do you think an announcement will be made about a head coach with the early signing period fast approaching? I think it comes right after the Texas A&M game. Is my personal opinion. This Jimbo Fisher thing is very interesting. It's very interesting. The Jimbo Fisher noise continues to mount. I don't know if it's I'm going to be honest. I don't know if it's a Woodward smoke screen or what it is. I really don't right now know exactly what it is. Lonnie says, we'll never hate you just because we disagree on something. Well, somebody in the DM says that I'm a Rudy Poo piece of shit. Oh, well. I've been drinking some Crown Black tonight, so I really don't care. Shout out to Crown Black. Shout out to the Crown Black. Curtis says, better hope we do or we are in for it. What you talking about, Curtis? Justice says, hashtag ask Blake, where can I get that hat? Hashtag Neverland Kiffin. I don't remember. Everybody asked me about the hat. I don't remember where I got it from. Nookie says, how about that fake punt? Yeah, that's what we're just talking about. He says, that was awesome. And if you remember, again, LSU ran that 19 and missed it with Van Rosenberg. You remember the guy who allegedly threw the ball so well in major leagues and had to be a punter? Anyway, he missed. Curtis says, the man was showing love to the fans. Get the F out of here. If you're talking about Orgeron, guys – Curtis, if you really believe, yes, is he showing love to the fans? Yes, but you also lost, and you also lost because of how you managed the game down the stretch. You have Alabama on the ropes. You kick the field goal, you get it. You make another stop, you can go down and have a chance to tie the game and to go into overtime. Let's not get this shit twisted. Let's not get it twisted 1 second and 1 iota. Ed Orgeron mismanaged the game again in the second half. In my opinion, he mismanaged the game in the second half. You got to take the points, especially with a guy who can kick the ball 50-plus yards. You make a stop. You give your guy a chance with the ability to go up and tie the game. You also take pressure off of your offense. You take a lot of – and here's another thing. Your offense has been struggling so fucking much throughout the game. Give them some confidence by getting the points. Mikey says, hashtag ask Blake, who's going to be our starting quarterback next season, in my opinion. Guys, I really like Walker Howard a lot. I don't know if he can come in as a freshman, but I like him a lot. And spare me that freshmen can't come in and play right away. Spare me that shit. Spare me that. Nookie says, Bama had 34 consecutive games scoring 30-plus points. That streak ended tonight. How nuts is that? How nuts is that? Like, we're not – that's – for whatever reason, that's not the underlying thing. Guys, again, what the fuck would have happened if Durante Jones had Derek Stingley, Elias Ricks, and all the rest of the guys? If Orgeron would actually have allowed him to call his game. And let's not get that twist. Here's a hot take for you. Durante Jones outcoached Bill O'Brien tonight. So for the people that come in here and ask me about Bill O'Brien to be the next head coach of LSU, first off, No to Bill O'Brien. Second off, stop with the fucking Deion Sanders. Stop with the Hugh Freezes. Stop with the, for the love of fucking Christ, stop with the Kellen Moores. Stop. The next person that says Kellen Moore for the next head coach of LSU, I don't know. I don't know. Stop it. Stop it. Curtis says keeping Howard. Well, I'm just telling you. I mean, his post-game interview. I mean, Will Campbell, who said he's still a solid commit, goes to the game. Guys, I don't think Walker Howard's going anywhere. Barring maybe one coach that he doesn't like, he's not going anywhere. His best friend's Will Campbell, who came to go watch him play Friday night. He's not going anywhere. Aaron Adams Jr. says, I know my boy Blake had good taste. Crown Black this way too. I like me some Crown Black. Was kind of tired of the Woodward reserves. Paul says, Blake, love your show. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. So we still got UFC 268. I can't believe that Chandler Gaethje fight went all 3 rounds. Remington Pierce says Crown Black equals Blake F bombs. True. Lavarian on Facebook says, I think we get Matt Rule to leave the Panthers. Possible. Jason Morgan says McLaughlin will be an absolute stud before it's all over. Guys, I thought he played a really good game. If you remember that tackle that was in space to who I think is Alabama's best receiver, it was the first half. They throw him a quick screen, and he's trying to make moves, and Dwight McLaughlin comes out of nowhere and just eats his shit up. Pause. Eats him alive. What about that Jay Ward hit? Saban going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs on the sidelines like a baby back bitch. Like, get out of here with that, man. Oh, my God, Jay Ward hit my quarterback really hard. Bitch, this is football. Saban with his Oompa Loompa head ass. Nookie says Max can't take that last sack. No, he can't. No, he cannot. No, he cannot. He's got to throw that ball away. And look, the truth is Max got skittish on that very last play. Pete Golden sent the entire house, and he got skittish. That's the difference between a good quarterback and a great one. I mean, I'm not comparing him to Joe, but everybody remembers this play. Joe Burrow, Texas, 2019. Step up in that motherfucker and let it rip. Step up in there and let it rip. Jack Besh is wide open. He did not play good tonight. Still think I still think Max is just a really young quarterback, man. I still think he's a good quarterback. Roderick says Mel Tucker. Yeah, a lot of people mad at Mel Tucker today for whatever reason. I guess because he lost. Him losing means nothing to me. Him losing means absolutely nothing. Lonnie says, hashtag ask Blake, do you think the coach from Purdue could be football Jake Johnson? No. I don't know how to say this name on YouTube. Rot. We'll just call him Rot. R-O-T. Rot on YouTube said McLaughlin is slow. Man, that boy would beat you in a race. Don't get that. He ain't slow. That boy ain't slow. Come on, man. Remington Pierce says, if CEO loved the fans, we wouldn't be here at Curtis. C. King says, Max be throwing the ball with his eyes closed. He does do that now. He does do that. He does be throwing the ball. He does throw the ball with his eyes closed. Here's another thing. Seth Scott brings up an interesting question. He says, Blake, when is our number 2 receiver going to step up? I don't know. Guys, you don't have a number 1 receiver right now. Your number 1 receiver's hurt. You don't have a number 2 or number 3, number 4, number 5. You don't have him. You just don't. You just don't have him. People are going to get mad at that, and that's okay. But you just don't have him. I just got sent something. Somebody said we'll be lucky to hang on to Walker Howard. You won't get another highly rated quarterback. I don't care who the coach is. That's not true. That's not true. Yeah, a lot of people freaking out about Walker Howard, but then Mike Scarborough from TigerBay.com got him saying that he's all LSU. C. King says McLaughlin plays fast. Know the difference. It's true. Curtis says, do we beat Arkansas or A&M to make a bowl? Curtis, I don't think LSU is going to go to a bowl game, my man. Rod says, I ran a 4.42 in 40 at St. Martin Parish. Man, y'all come get this boy. Rod, you ran a 4.42? I'm going to need witnesses. Where you play college ball? If you any kid in high school runs a 4.42, they're going somewhere. Come on, man. Come on. I don't think Walker Howard's going anywhere unless there is a couple of coaches that I think that could come that would make him leave though. But I don't think he wants to go anywhere. I think he wants to play at LSU. Josh Forbes says he wouldn't be skittish if his line didn't let him get beat up the whole year. Well, and he's got a hurt throwing shoulder. So, look, people can continue to get mad anyway. Lamar says LMAO 442 crying face emoji, dead face emoji. Man, come on, that boy didn't run no 442. Matt Gidger says Rot lying his ass off. Man, I know Rot's lying his ass off. Ain't no man. Come on, man. That boy didn't run no 4.42. Hey, I ran a 4. I ran a 4.4. 4.4 ever. Mark LaGrange says you're correct in calling BS on the Walker Howard comment. If anything, he has a better opportunity than ever before. Yeah, but again, I still would be very skittish. I'd still be very skittish to see if there is a certain coach, what he does. Ryan Kelly says, or Ryan Keith Whitty says, yeah, I ran a 4.23. Yeah, I ran a 4.23 too. Shit. Say King says, and now Rot is here with us, so there's that. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh, God. Jake Lopez says Bama is not the second best team by far. I agree with Jake here. They're not the second best team. But again, here's my thing. If they're not the second best team, who is? But Alabama only beating LSU by 6. I still think they're obviously better than Michigan State. I still think they're better than Cincinnati. I think that they're better than Oklahoma. Wake Forest got beat today. Who's better than them? I think Georgia's that far separated from everybody else that I can't see how I don't know who is the second best team. I mean, if you're going to put Cincinnati in there, but Cincinnati almost lost to a team to Tulsa. Alabama would beat down Cincinnati. Mark says, need hints on who this certain coach is, what state. I'm going to leave that one alone, Mark, for now. I don't think that there's a lot of coaches that he would not come for. I think that he wants to be an LSU Tiger. And I don't think that any of the coaches that we're talking about right now at full steam are any of those coaches. Jason says Georgia is going to railroad Bama in the second chip. Well, St. King brings up an interesting point. Says Ohio State is probably number 2. I think that's a good point. Mikey says that Rod equals a turtle. Come on, bro. Y'all got my Rod leaving. Y'all got my boy Rod leaving here. Pooh Bear says, hashtag Ask Blake. When we scored first, I was yelling, stop the count, LMAO. Me too, man. I was surprised that LSU even had the lead at any point. I'm really happy and surprised by what LSU did, man. I really am. I really am. I don't think you can take anything away from it. All right, let's get a couple more. We'll go a little bit longer. Skipper Tally says, does this game put Saban on the hot seat now? Probably for some Bama fans, it does. Absolutely it does. How nuts is that shit? Bob Jones says, is Brian Kelly Notre Dame number 2 for Howard? It looks that way, yeah. It looks that way. It looks like I can't see Walker Howard going to Notre Dame. And guys, he's a midterm enrollee. So, I mean, we literally got a month. Guys, we have a month, and that guy's going to start his paperwork to enroll. So I still think he's coming in. Seth Scott says, how's Jack not on the field on every passing play? I don't know. I mean, they want, for whatever reason, for Jack Meshburn to be on the field. And look, I'm not a Jack Meshburn hater. What I am, though, is a realist, and I mean, you're tipping your hand. Again, you can talk about the offensive play calling, and we can talk about the offensive play calling all we want, but you can't fucking run at Will Anderson. You know, the one thing I didn't get to is how bad the refs were tonight. But I don't sit here and blame the refs for I still think that you play a 60-minute game, but the refs were horrible tonight. Absolutely horrendous. Jason says the future is bright for our young defense. It is. Guys, you have talent. You fucking have talent all across. The one thing that this game proved to me tonight is that you got talent. It's fucking crazy. And not only do you have talent, you got deep talent. C. King says, after tonight, we got to have an offensive-minded head coach. In my humble opinion, it's not humble. I mean, you're right. See, let's not shade punches. Let's not shade punches here. I mean, shit, you're right. And I think Woodward's going to go that way. Mark says the swing play was Ty Davis Price fumble. I agree with that. But again, guys, you know how I am. One play does not make or break the game. Max has got to complete some passes. And Max didn't give up 20 points. Max didn't get blown on the deep ball. All right, let's go. Let's do 5 more, and then we're going to get out of here. Charles Fair says no more victories, but these dudes play their ass off tonight. Hats off. You got to give it to them, man. You got to give it to them. Everybody put down on them, and they don't want to play. You know, it could have been easy for a guy like Dwight McGlothern. If you remember when Dwight McGlothern went out, it could have been easy for that guy for him not to come back. But he did. Hats off to him. Scott says they need to fire Saban. He almost lost to the shrimp boat captain again. Shit. Y'all fire that man, then please fire that man. Jason Morgan says, sends us $4.99 via Super Chat. Thank you, my friend. And Dez says, sends us $5 via Super Chat and says, at least we beat Florida. True. Man, how bad is Florida right now, man? How bad is Florida? Elwin says, Michigan State losing change thoughts on Tucker. Does it change your thoughts? Because it doesn't change mine, and I guarantee you it doesn't change LSU's. Nookie says Ty Davis Price converted 3 fourth downs, and everyone knew he was getting the ball on that last one. True. And again, what's funny is LSU ran away from Will Anderson. Guys, you can't run at the best player in the defensively in the SEC, arguably. And when you do, you start pounding the rock. What's crazy is that Alabama only had 6 rushing yards. That's what's crazy. And if you think if that team if Alabama can't run on LSU's defense, what the fuck do you think is going to happen when they go up against Georgia? That shit's going to be a nightmare. All right. Hall and Oaks says, hey, man, just here to say you kicked our ass. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. Pooh Bear says, pause, Max blown on the deep ball. That crown's something else. Come on, man. Come on, bro. LSU 337 says Jason Morgan going to be broke on all these super chats. Hey man, we're growing. We're growing. I appreciate every time someone sends us money and somebody helps us grow. Nookie says that Ali Gay posted on Twitter reinforcing that they're still playing for the staff. Well, I wish he could come back. All right, last one. I saw one from Taylor Bill, but I can't find it now. But he says, I understand you can't run it every play, but the zero coverage blitzes worked all night. Rushing 3 wasn't the move. Wow. Durante Jones out coached Bill O'Brien. God bless what's going to happen to when they play Georgia. And Kenneth says Clark is the second best linebacker in the conference. Shit, you can make the argument he's the best. I mean, leads the nation in tackles. All right, guys, we will see y'all again Monday. Just be on the lookout. We might have to do a show tomorrow. Some shit could be popping off. I don't know. A lot of shit going nuts right now. But until then, guys, we'll talk to y'all soon. Have a good night. Peace out, Girl Scouts.